want your business to go to another level, you must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah.
Welcome to the Marketing Strategies for Drastic Results show. My name is Tony Harris Taylor. I am your host, CEO, and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, multi-unit award-winning franchisee with Network in Action Global Partners, where we bring business owners and sales professionals and nonprofit leaders together to create community, to get more connections, collaborations, coaching, so that they can all make more cash. Welcome to today's show. Today's show, I'm super excited about. We get to talk about my favorite topic in the whole wide world. Guess what that is? Networking. I have a special guest from Network in Action, a fellow franchisee, Sara Branch, and we've joined forces. Speaking of collaborations, we've joined forces to put our brains together to help you all succeed as better networkers. I'll have to tell y'all about how strongly I feel networking is to help you grow your business. But I'll give you a story this week, and this is airing in the future, but regardless, this week I showed up to a franchise conference in Atlanta. Franchisors are my target market, and I really wanted to connect with them. And so I looked at the registration price at the end of last month, and I'm like, ooh. So I booked the registration. And of course I got to fly. Then I got a lodging, car, all of the above, not knowing if I'm going to get a thing out of it. Now, let's be clear. I know I'm going to get something out of it. So there's no doubt that I'll be able to turn it into $1,200 worth of business in the future. But still, when you are putting out investing now for maybe in the future, you don't know where that's going to lead. When I tell you, I met the most amazing people, CEOs of ginormous brands you've heard of, connections with other suppliers. And the biggest thing that came from it was, I always talk about when you network, you got to stand out. Part of the plan is standing out. And at this conference, there was probably 400 people. Ask me how many Black people were there. Ask me. 2. And what happened for me while I was there was what revived for me was that I have got to be the bridge between franchising and my communities of people of color, of all colors over here, because obviously they don't know about each other. And so the biggest thing that came out of it was another drastic project. You'll hear more about that later. But shown up, the project, I thought of the idea 3 years ago. And then it was reconfirmed for me, because it's been heavy on my mind that I have to do it. And it's all because I showed up. So today we're going to talk about networking, and networking not willy-nilly, but networking with a plan. And Sara and I will tell our love story. Y'all know I like to call these love stories. So we'll tell our love story and how we're collaborating and how you will benefit. We'll be right back with my friend, Sara Branch.
Are you a franchisor grappling with how to stimulate your franchisees' growth and revenue? Are the phrases, "I'm not comfortable networking," "I'm an introvert"? Enter Tony Harris Taylor, your answer to these challenges. With her expert guidance and program, you can empower your franchisees to conquer networking and community outreach. Tony's program is designed to equip your franchisees with the skills and confidence to show up to the right events with the right people. It goes beyond making connections. It's about nurturing and leveraging these relationships. It's about following up, collaborating, and generating leads and referrals to maximize conversions. And ultimately, increased revenue for your franchisees and for you, the franchisor. Are you ready to unlock this potential? Reach out to us at 832-479-2088. Let's embark on this journey of growth and success together.
We are back with my sister friend, Sara Branch. Welcome, Sara.
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having me.
In your own words, who are you and what do you do? And be sure to tell us where you live.
Yes, I will. I'm Sara Branch. You can see my name spelled on the screen. It's without an H. And I live in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, a city called Marietta. And I, like Tony, am a network and action franchisee. And also, like Tony, I love networking and I love to train people how to be intentional and strategic in their networking. So that's what I love to do.
And she is amazing at it. We also have similar backgrounds we are both corporate trainers. So tell your story, Sara. How did you get from being corporate trainer to a franchisee?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this kind of journey story going on. I've been in corporate for, well, longer than I care to admit, but it was over 20 years. And I had been in sales, I had been in sales training, and was towards the end of my career as the director of learning and development for a software company. And I had a change of management that let me know I needed to work my way out of corporate. So my husband and I did quite a bit of research, quite a bit of due diligence, and came up with, through my husband's network, Network in Action. And we visited Network in Action both here in Atlanta and in Houston. We talked to wonderful people on the phone, including Tony Harris Taylor. And Tony really helped convince me that this would be the franchise for me. So we bought it.
Yay. So when I met her, she said, Tony, I want to be just like you. And Sara has shown up. She came to my conference. I've stayed at her house. When I visited Atlanta, she's connected me to her sister in some small town, Georgia. And it's just been, and then we just came back from Florida together.
Yeah, we did.
Her dog. It was so funny. He was growling and barking at me. And at the end, I couldn't let him go. So you don't know where these relationships are going to take you. And so Sara's been amazing. Now, Sara's name is Branch. And so one of the things we brainstormed on was her brand around networking and how it's related to trees and branches. And so I want you to tell that story, but that's another commonality. We both love gardening.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to my house too. So how does being a tree and a plant and gardening all relate to networking?
Well, it has to do, to start off with planting seeds. You're not going to get any shrubbery. You're not going to get any flowers or anything if you don't first plant seeds. And you can't just leave the seed in the ground. You have to fertilize it. You have to water it. As it starts to grow, you have to make decisions on pruning it if it needs pruning. But the corollary there is networking starts with planting seeds. Then you've got to nurture those connections so that they become relationships. And those relationships are the things that grow like flowers and shrubs and trees that eventually produce the fruit for both you and your connections that increases your business. It becomes more sales.
Absolutely. And so I like to say that once the fruit starts to grow, you can't stop it. You cannot stop a tree from bearing fruit once it starts to produce that fruit, but it takes time. And I think, Sarah, too many people think that because they pass out a business card or because they post on social media, the floodgates are going to open. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. And so you and I collaborated together to create a program to teach people how to network and to do it with a strategy. So tell them a little bit more about the program.
Sure. And I love it when, Tony, when you say people tell you that they don't like to network, it's stressful, they're an introvert. Well, that's exactly the people that we're targeting for this. And even if people are comfortable networking, most people don't have a strategy with specific steps about networking. And we set about, first of all, help everybody be comfortable in networking, starting with their mindset, all the way through finding out who their strategic, who their ideal customer profile is, identifying the niches within the ideal customers, learning how to go to events, identify events, get one-to-one meetings, and of course, get one-to-one meetings in the meeting, never leave a meeting without other meetings booked. And then we teach them how to track the one-to-ones and nurture them to become either a strategic alliance or a client.
Yeah. And so people think that networking is natural, that people are born natural networkers. They say that about me all the time. I actually hired a coach to teach me how to network back in 2005, because even though I am friendly, and now that I'm older, I think I'm an ambivert, because there are a lot of times I don't want to be bothered either. I'm just saying, and I have to push myself. But they think it's natural, but it's a skill. It's a learned skill, a practice skill. One of the things that you are a singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just come out the gate knowing a song. It takes rehearsal. It takes practice. And then you sing classical music in different languages. So can you correlate why it's important to learn this skill and not just assume that just some people are born networkers and it ain't for me?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm an extrovert, and my husband calls me an over-the-top extrovert. And he says I could get a post to respond to me. But when I first started in sales, I didn't know what networking was. Now, fortunately enough for me, I have an uncle who is a serial entrepreneur, has built businesses, sold businesses. And I sat down with him and I basically interviewed him. And I said, Uncle Earl, I'm now out in the business world and I go to parties and I go to business networking things, but nothing ever happens. Well, he got a big smile on his face and he said, yes, I know. And he taught me what networking is and that it is a step-by-step process. It is not just showing up. I mean, showing up is good, but you have to have a plan for when you show up. And that plan has to include where you're going to show up, who you're looking for. And as I said, I learned all of that from my uncle, who was the serial entrepreneur. Me as a natural extrovert doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything.
Yeah. And so you got to show up in the right places with the right people, say the right things, look the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in today's world, I cannot believe how super overly casual people are.
Yes.
And then you've got to show up, be up, follow up, and all of those strategies. So we're going to teach you our systems for making sure that you can turn those contacts into contracts. So we're going to take a quick break. And Sarah, I'm going to come back and ask you the two questions I ask all of my guests. And then we will give your contact information. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back with Sara Branch. We're back with my friend Sara Branch. We're talking networking here. And I do want to, before I go into my questions, talk about the creator of connections change everything in your lower third there. What's that mean?
Well, connections change everything, because if you have a business and you're not connected to people, then you really don't have a business. So you've got to be connected to, if you are a franchisee, you've got to be connected to your franchisor and the right people within the franchisor. And once you've bought your business, then you've got to be able to get out into the community and be connected to the people who will come to your business, whether you're a brick and mortar or not, and want to be a paying client for your business. So that means connections change everything.
Okay, very good. Got it. So, Sara, how has networking specifically helped your business?
Well, gosh, I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for networking. Yes, I've got a business group like you, Tony, Network in Action, but there wouldn't be members in my group if I wasn't networking. And if I hadn't written a course to help people and then used it in networking, then I wouldn't have interest in my course. So networking is the backbone of business, period. I love to ask people the question, where do sales come from? And then look at the look on their face and say, huh, what are you talking about? Well, they come from relationships. And where do relationships come from? They come from connections, and those connections are made in networking. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And every business owner needs a network. I don't care what you do, because you have got to have a network so that you can go to your next level. And frankly, nobody wants to cold call. Nobody wants to knock on doors. Nobody wants to do direct mail marketing. Nobody wants to do. Now, some businesses, direct mail marketing is important, right? If you're an electrician, a plumber, all day long, send postcards to homes.
Yep.
But if you are in a business where you need to stand out and relationships matter, which I don't know of a business, even if you are those trades, you still need relationships.
Yeah.
Networking is everything. So, and then look at the relationship Sara and I had. We met 3 years ago or so, and it's just been amazing to watch us come together. And now here we are collaborating. And when I first met her, I didn't know her, but I was open. She was open to me. And here we are traveling together now.
Yeah.
So you never know where the relationships are going to take you. Don't worry about that. Just be likable, and then just watch them flourish. Okay, so the next question is, what's the biggest drastic step you've ever taken?
Oh, definitely leaving corporate and buying a franchise. It was exciting, scary, exhilarating. Oh, any of those words. And it's been wonderful. I am so thankful that I took that drastic step, because of course I wouldn't have met you, Tony, if I hadn't. And my life is so much better since I've known you. But that is by far and away the most drastic step I've taken. And I'm very thankful, extremely thankful.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful that you said yes too. And I just know that we're going to help a lot of communities to grow and get out their comfort zone and to get drastic themselves so that they can take their businesses to the next level. I'm putting you on the spot now because I didn't prep you for this, but do you want to tell, besides our love story, do you want to tell another story where networking has really made a difference in either your life or your husband's life? Do you have another story you'd like to share?
Oh, wow. There's so many. Let me see if I can pick one. Well, recently I met a young man at a networking event. Well, not so recently. It was several months ago. I think it was last year. Anyway, and he had just bought a franchise. He was like me. He had decided to leave corporate. He bought a franchise. I met him at a networking group. And when I stood up and announced that I am a professional connector, that my job is to help you get in front of your ideal customer, he cut a beeline across that room and he said, I need to talk to you I need your help. So we sat down and had a one-to-one, and that wonderful young man has now connected me to 4 other people in large organizations where we've started conversations about, first of all, the difference between sales training and networking training, and how you can track networking just like you can track sales. So that was an amazing contact. And that young man's going to have a fantastic business because he is out in the community meeting people every day. And I've helped him come up with strategic phrases to use to introduce himself in the community. So he's going to do fine.
Awesome. You are amazing. And I know he was attracted to you. And so, yeah. And then that's the other thing. She had a compelling elevator pitch. Or we call them value statements. And then he made a beeline to her and he instantly opened doors for her. See, when you show up in a certain way, people will want to help you. People want to help you just because you're in the same room they're in. And sometimes it is instant. And so that's exciting that he saw something in you to open up his network, which is the ultimate compliment, by the way.
Absolutely.
When someone says you need to meet somebody, that's the ultimate compliment. And I'm so grateful that my business currently is only built on those kind of connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Sara, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, you can reach me at 470-707-3598. You can send me a text or call me, and if I'm available, I will answer the phone. If not, leave me a voicemail with what you're looking for, and I'll be back to you very quickly.
And then her email is there at the bottom as well.
Oh, yes.
So, Sara, thank you so much for the opportunity, who you are and what you do and how we are working together. Y'all stay tuned because we are going to be doing some really bigger things together because we know that so many people out there need help with those strategic networking. And I have another win real quick before I let you go. So at the conference that I was at this week was one of my members, NIA member, and I met somebody and that person said, "Oh, Matt told me about you." He said he had pulled out his phone and booked an appointment with me and he blamed you. He said, I have to do this because my coach, Tony, said I have to book appointments. When I tell you I was so proud of him because I actually was watching him hand the phone to people and book appointments on the spot.
Absolutely.
I loved it so much. And I remember when I met him, he was like, "Huh? You do what?" And now I said, "That's right, baby. Blame me and get them appointments."
Oh, yeah. Blame me all day long.
Well, thank you so much, Sara. I love you. And stay tuned. What's more for me and Sara? Yeah. We'll be back with my final thoughts.
Love you too, Tony. See you.
Wasn't that a great conversation with Sara? You have to be able to show up, be up, follow up, to Blow Up. If you want to pick up the book, go to showuptoblowup.com. That's going to redirect you to the Amazon link, and that is going to help you to be able to get your book. Networking. Networking changes lives, not just grows your business, changes lives. And if you get this part, your business will grow exponentially because one relationship leads to the next relationship. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this with your network. Tell them they need to be getting drastic and watch the Drastic Results show. And if you're interested in being on the show, hit me up on either LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger, and let's talk about who you are and what you do, and if we can showcase your business. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we will see you next week. Bye.